Welcome back, friends. We are going to learn about the auto scaling group. What is an auto scaling group is? An auto scaling group contains a collection of EC2 instances treated as a logical grouping for automatic scaling and management. Let's click on Create Auto Scaling Group. First, we need to provide the auto scaling group name. Let's name this auto scaling group EC2 Auto Scaling Group. Next is the launch template. What is a launch template? Launch template essentially automates the launching of EC2 instances. They simplify permissions and enforce best practices across your organization. That way, all your launch instances will be the same type and include the same permissions boundary. Okay, you can create a launch template or click here to switch to the launch configuration, but launch configuration is not commonly used nowadays. It used to be earlier, but now it's just launch template. It is very common. Just ignore the launch configuration. If you click here, you can see it says, instead of using launch configuration to create an EC2 auto scaling group, we recommend using launch template. I'll click here, switch to launch template and select your launch template. If we have a launch template, it will be displayed here, but there is none. So I will click here to create a launch template. Let's name this guy. We are creating our first launch template, right? This template will tell what kind of EC2 instances can be launched using this template, what the permission boundaries are, and related things. Let this be the default. We need to give the Amazon machine image, so we can either pick this or we can say quick start. And we're going to choose the Amazon Linux image. We also have other options: Mac OS, Ubuntu, Windows, and Red Hat. And in AMI, we will pick up the free tier here because we are learning. And now next. 64-bit is fine as well. For instance type, I will include T2 Micro, our favorite one here, which is free tier eligible. We don't need the key pair here for the launch template. The option, don't include the launch template, is fine. For network setting, okay. For subnet, don't include in launch template. Let it pick up whatever it needs to. For the security group, select the existing one if we have one. We have this guy launch wizard one. Let's click here. Let's see what this is. Essentially, it has two ports open that we used in the previous exercise, port 80 and port 22, and these ports are allowed from anywhere. Okay, let's select the security group. This is selected. For storage, let it be the default. Okay, and this is fine. Advanced detail. Here, we would add in the user data script that we had. Let's paste here. Okay, this is user data that updates the OS, installs the HTTP web server, and then creates a new index.html file in which we have hello world from and the private DNS name of the machine on which the web server is running. This line starts the HTTP server, and this line automates the starting of the HTTP server. For example, if we stop this EC2 instance and start again, the HTTP daemon means the web server will be started automatically. Okay. With this, let's click here on the launch template. Okay. This has been successfully created. Okay, now let's come to this page and refresh it. We should see this is the launch template that we created. And these are the details of that. Okay, T2 Micro demo launch template, security group ID, and all those things, right? We have this launch template we created. Now click on next, okay? And then next is we need to choose instance launch option, which is about network. Let's have a default VPC. Select availability zones and subnet. Select all of them because that way in any availability zones and subnets, the instance will be launched. We will have no problem. Okay, our scaling group will take care if instances are launched in any of those availability zones and subnets. Okay, so we have to select all of them. Next is instance type requirements. Here we are telling that, okay, this is our demo launch template that we'll be using. We can override if we want to. Okay, Essentially, we are telling that is this auto scaling group is having this demo launch template as part of template. Okay. We provided name. Okay. And we provided instance launch options, VPC, availability zones, and subnets. And we are giving here the launch template that we created previously. Let me close this guy. And then next. Okay. Next is about load balancing, because our auto scaling group will be fronted by a load balancer, right? So load balancer will first take the request, and then it will forward it to instances which are part of the auto scaling group. So we need to set up load balancing here, which is optional. But we can also have auto scaling group without a load balancer, but we will add one because that is very standard practice to front auto scaling group with a load balancer. So we say attached to an existing load balancer or attached to a new load balancer. We will choose attached to an existing load balancer, right? Now, do we have any? Choose from load balancer target group. Choose from classic load balancers, and this one is attached to a new load balancer. Here we don't have any load balancers, so we say attached to a new load balancer. What is the load balancer type? We say we would create an application load balancer. Remember, in the last exercise we talked about there are 3 types of load balancers: application load balancer, network load balancer, and gateway load balancer. Application load balancer is very common when we have HTTP and HTTPS type of applications, web applications. And we need to direct traffic based on HTTP or HTTPS. In this demo, we also have the same type of application. We have web servers running on our EC2 instances. So we'll choose application load balancer. Now we need to name this load balancer. Okay, let's name it. What we can name this one. Let me copy and paste this name. It is AWS Cloud Training Demo Application Load Balancer. For the load balancer scheme, we will select internet facing because we'll be testing it from the outside. And VPC is fine, default VPC, and these are all the availability zones and subnets we selected previously. Okay, and for the listener, port 80 is fine. This load balancer needs to forward traffic, right? So we need to assign here a target group, select your existing target group, but we don't have any target group here. So we'll select create target group, an instance target group with a default setting will be created. Okay, let's create one target group, and let's name this target group. Okay, and then for health check, let's give ELB. This is fine, optional is fine. Let's click. Here what happens is that because we are saying that just create our target group, so this target group will be created, and let's click on next. And this target group will launch instances based on the template we have provided. Okay, let's click on next. Here we need to provide the desired capacity, minimum capacity, and max capacity. Let's enter 2 for the desired capacity. Okay, minimum capacity 1, and let's enter maximum capacity 4 for this exercise. Okay, it means when our auto scaling group starts, it will start with 2 instances, right? And if the load starts increasing, then it will launch additional instances to manage scalability, but at maximum it can add up to 4 instances. In the same way, when the load on our load balancer starts decreasing, then it will start terminating additional instances. At a minimum, it will come down to 1, right? It will always have at least 1 instance running. The important point here is that it will always try to strive for the desired capacity. When it starts, it will start with 2. When the load increases, it can add 2 additional instances because the maximum capacity is configured to be 4 and it starts with 2, right? The maximum it could go up to 4. And when the load on the load balancer starts to go down, the minimum it could reduce the instance to 1, not less than 1, as that is the minimum capacity. You will always have at least one of them running, and the desired capacity is 2, right? For scaling policies, this is optional. Here, we can have different ways to scale the auto scaling group. For example, we can set up auto scaling based on CPU utilization. For example, we can set up a scaling policy to launch an additional instance when CPU utilization exceeds 85%. There are different parameters we can set up. Then, the CloudWatch service will monitor it and scale up and down instances when the system reaches the threshold based on the configuration. Right now, we will not have this advanced system for this exercise. Let's have it none. And this is optional. Let's click on next, and this is optional. Let's click next. Let's click next, and let's review here. What this is saying that, okay, we'll be creating this auto scaling group with this name, and we'll be using this template, network VPC and all these availability zones. And for load balancing, the target group is this, okay? And for health check, 300 seconds is grace period and desired capacity 2, minimum 1, maximum 4. Scaling policy, we did not set up. Okay, everything is fine. Let's create this auto scaling group. Okay, right now this auto scaling group is getting created and it is updating capacity. Desired capacity is 2, minimum 1, maximum 4. It will try to launch auto scaling group with at least 2 instances because that's what we configured, to have the desired capacity as 2. Okay, let's click here. Auto scaling group, meantime it is updating capacity and instances are getting launched. Let's click here, and here let's click on activity. It is right now trying to launch 2 instances. If you notice here, pre-in service, and this is in progress. Updating load balancer, right? These are activities that are going on. If we look here under instance management, you can notice that there are 2 instances, right? Right now they are pending. They are getting launched of T2 microtype, and they are from this template, okay? And status is healthy. And if we look into monitoring, these are the different CloudWatch metrics right now. We can see here what's going on, and these are the things about auto scaling group. Let's come here at auto scaling group again. And if you click here so that we can see here, so if we go to under instances, we see here these 2 instances are coming up, okay, and they are initializing. Let's see target groups. This is my target group, right? And in this target group, if you click here, so you see here that in this target group, these 2 instances are part of this target group. One is healthy, and for this guy, registration is in progress, okay? Let's go to the load balancer, which was used to launch this auto scaling group. The auto scaling group is fronted by this load balancer. Just click here and see what's going on here. So this is load balancer, okay? And the listener is port 80, okay? So the request will be listened on this port. And network mapping, okay, important point here is that this is your load balancer and these are the different details of it, and it's listening on port 80, okay? If traffic comes, then it will forward it to this target group, okay? And this target group right now has 2 instances, okay, part of the auto scaling group, and those instances were launched using launch template, okay? Let's see again what's going on. If we come at the target group, and this is the target group, and if you click here, I want to see the instances, and both instances are, one is healthy. This still says that health check failed. It's unhealthy. Let's go here. Come at the health check. So what we can do here, we can edit here, and we come here, health check setting, and here, let's, okay, and save it, okay. Now let's wait for the instance to become healthy. Okay, let's wait a few seconds. Right now, only one of them is healthy and the other one is not healthy. We can still go to the load balancer and check whether it is forwarding traffic to the auto scaling group or not. We come to load balancer. This is the load balancer. Okay, we can get the DNS name of this load balancer. And we open a new window here, and okay, so we see our request is processed by one of those instances, which is the healthy one, right? If I refresh, always it will be going to that one because one of them is not good. So the target group is not forwarding the request to the unhealthy one. Okay, let's come here and go to the target group and see what's going on, if it is coming healthy or not, okay? Still one of them is unhealthy. Okay, so now this guy is healthy, and for the other one, target registration is still in progress. So what is happening actually, it is trying to set up the other instance, right? As this one is draining out during the registration, and it is trying to launch the other one, okay? So we will get right now total target 3, but eventually one of them will drain out and we will get the 2 of them. Let's refresh it. Let's see how it is coming. One is draining. Right now it's 3, but eventually it will be shown as a 2, because for this guy the registration is in progress. Say if we come to auto scaling group here and click here, we see the activity. Okay, launching new instance is successful. Let's come to the target group again and see what's going on. How many of them are healthy? Okay, targets. Still, registration is in progress. It is still sending the traffic on the same machine, not to the other one. But you see here that in the target group, what's going on in the target group? Let's go to the target group. This is the target group. And there are 3. Only one is healthy, one is draining, and one is unhealthy. Even though 3 of them are running there, only one of them is healthy. That's why the traffic is only being sent to one of them, not to the other 2 that you see. Okay? Let's refresh here to see when this becomes healthy, right? Okay, still one of them is unhealthy. Okay, let's do one thing. This guy, EED, is healthy, right? Let's come here. EED is healthy. It is healthy. But these 2 are not, right? Let me select these 2 and terminate them. Let's terminate them. What's going to happen? Because the desired capacity is 2, it will try to launch another instance in the target group using the same launch template. This is the target, okay? And select this one, okay? So right now this guy will go away, right? Let's see if we go here. It's still 1. If you go to the target group, one is healthy and one is unhealthy. Let's deregister this guy. I have deregistered it. Okay. Right now only one of them is registered. One is healthy. Okay. And what's going to happen? Actually, now it is trying to launch another one because we configured that we need at least 2 instances, right? So it is launching a new one. The registration is in progress. If you come here to the EC2 dashboard, right now one is running, and for the other one, the status check is initializing. Okay, if we come to auto scaling group again here, sorry, not auto scaling group. If we come to the target group, select here, and both of them are healthy. Okay, now if you go here to the EC2 dashboard, both of them are running and both of them are healthy. For this, the status check is initializing. I can go and check it out. What's going on? The first is 81. The second one is 62, 81, 62. You can notice how our load balancer is directing traffic to the target group of 2 instances. It is forwarding the traffic to the first one and then to the next one. First, the load balancer forwards the request to the first one and then forwards the request to the next one, right? You can see how auto scaling group is working. The idea is that the entire process is automated. For example, if you can recall when we deregistered one or when we terminated one instance, the auto scaling group automatically added one instance to the target group, right? For example, let's try one. If I terminate one or something goes wrong, let's terminate this one and see what happens. I'm terminating one of them. Okay, this is terminated. Now if you come to the target group you will see that eventually it will be taken out. Come here on the activity. It says that it is trying to launch the another one. It says pre-in service, right? Even though we terminated one, but our auto scaling group is trying to launch another one. If you come to the target group, select this one, come to the targets, it is loading right now. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see, we terminated one, but it has launched another one, right? It's good because we configured the desired capacity to be 2. That's why it is launching another instance even though we terminated one. Let's see our target group, what's going on. Okay. Resource could not be retrieved, could not read properties. This is just a temporary problem. You see that now 2 of them are healthy, 1 is draining. Now if you come back here, 129, 62, right? Refresh. 129, 62, right? The load balancer is forwarding the traffic on both of these EC2 instances, right? I think you got the idea of how auto scaling group works. Essentially, in an auto scaling group, you create a launch template. You create or you already have a launch template. The launch template will define what kind of instances you will be creating, what security group will have, and then you front this auto scaling group with a load balancer. If you don't have a load balancer, create a new load balancer. Application load balancer you create if you have a web application, right? HTTP, HTTPS traffic. And then you create a target group, right? Target group will include your EC2 instances, right? The flow is that the request goes to the load balancer first. Then the load balancer will forward that request to the target group. And the target group will have number of instances depending on what the desired capacity is. In this demo, it was always trying to have 2 as we configured the desired capacity to 2. Now we understood how auto scaling group works. The next, what we'll do, we will delete all the resources that we created. First, I will go to the auto scaling group. I will delete this one. The idea is that you should not get charged for whatever we are doing. Since we are learning, let's go and delete this guy. Auto scaling group is deleted. The next is target group. We select this one. We say, okay, let's delete this one. This one is gone. Okay. And we have this load balancer. Select this one. And let's say delete load balancer. We deleted this one. This one is gone. And now we are deleting these instances, right? Even though most of this stuff we are running in the free tier, it's safer to remove the stuff once we have learned, okay? It's always better to do a cleanup, even when you are essentially using the free tier. It is safer to clean up and remove all the resources once your understanding or POC is done, okay? We have removed everything. Both of them are terminated, right? Okay, we're good to go. I hope you understood how auto scaling works and you liked this lecture.